So I've been talking about the Niners undrafted free agent running back Jordan Mason. I'm not a great judge of running backs in non-contact practice, but I like watching him play. He seems really quick and quite explosive. Uh, After practice, I went up to Larry and I said, "What'd you think?" And one of the first things you said was Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
What do you see?
He looks great. I mean,
Yeah.
well, he's 225 pounds. He's got this really, really good first and second step quickness. So he's like, I don't know what his 40 time was, but he's quick. I bet you he had a great 10-yard split because he is quick. I mean, it's like he's full speed, boom. And then he's, as I said, he's between 225 and 230, but it's kind of compact and he's got stop and start ability and he's got seems like plenty's fast enough to get to the edge, and he's obviously big enough to counter back inside. I mean, they got a really good room of running backs, and they got a ton of backs. I can see why they allowed Raheem Mostert to get out of there because there's no end to the number of quality backs they have. I mean, they got a lot of guys, and this guy's really interesting. I mean, he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be really interesting in the preseason.
I keep comparing him to Ty Davis Price because I mean they're both rookies and they're both about the same size. They're both going to be short yardage, not specialists, but guys who excel in short yardage and do more, I would think. And again, it's hard to judge running backs when there's no tackling, but in this setting, when there's no tackling and you're just sort of looking at agility and explosion, Mason's more impressive. Now, Ty Davis Price didn't practice today, but I feel like what he contributes to this team, he's not going to be able to really show in practice. Mason can. He's a good receiver. There was a run today. It was an outside zone run to the left. Someone got beat immediately. He had a guy in his face. He cut back real quick and cut back behind the A gap. I mean, he had the whole offense oohing and eyeing. Did you see that?
Yeah, right? I think they thought he was going. It looked like going to the left, and he cut it back and went right. And everybody kind of gave him the big ooh. Like,
that's always good. That's a good response to get when you're an undrafted rookie.
Oh, no question. I mean, they're stacked at running back. Yeah. I mean, this guy looks really, really good. And they've got Hasty, and they've got Jeff Wilson, and they've got Trey Sermon, and Elijah Mitchell, and TDP, and they got guys. They got lots of guys at running back. So I was hoping to see a little bit more explosiveness from Trey Sermon. I didn't see that today. He looked like very much like the guy we saw last year. But
he got a lot of touches today, right?
Because he did get a lot of touches.
No Ty Davis Price, yeah.
And it's hard to gauge because everybody's, as I said, trying to stay up, and he's got nifty feet, and he's kind of picking and sliding through the holes. So it's hard to know if guys could tackle him and then choosing not to. But I was hoping to see just a little bit more speed and explosiveness than what we saw last year. And I saw kind of the same guy I saw last year.
Also, there was one play. Lance was under center. They tossed it to Sermon to the right, and he just couldn't do anything. I mean, there was no tackling, and he couldn't even turn the corner. He just stopped. To me, he just doesn't have that explosion. Maybe he'll be effective on the zone read between the tackles, but he's not gonna be getting to the edge, which is a problem because the Niners. It's not a problem. It's just unfortunate because the Niners' best run blocker is Kittle on the edge. If you're fast, it's like a guaranteed 7 yards. Ask Raheem Mostert. So, I don't think Sermon's going to be able to take advantage of that.
He doesn't seem like he can get the edge, but he does seem like he may have a role in this offense. Between him and Wilson and Mason, they may have, their pick there of backs they want to finish with. Maybe they've got some guys who are 220 who they can say, you know what, let's finish between the tackles. Let's run wide, but now it's the fourth quarter. Let's take it up in there with some of these bigger backs. So we'll see. Once again, running back's another position. It's so instinctive, and it's such a full speed position. Like, you can't really evaluate it unless you're watching football at full speed. Yep. That you don't want to make any real concrete negative evaluations on backs unless they're like 20 pounds overweight.
Right.
And none of those guys were.
One thing I do want to say, though, is I really like Jeff Wilson Jr.
Yeah.
And he was not healthy last year, but he's healthy now. And in 2020, he was a really good player. He led the team in touchdowns. It feels like a long time ago, but go back and watch his game in New England from 2020. He was the best player in their offense. He ran over 3 touchdowns in that game. If he's back to the player he was 2 years ago, it's funny. They bring in all these running backs. The top 2 guys will be him and Elijah Mitchell. Those guys are good. Those guys are good, and they have depth. Yeah.
They got depth, and we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Jeff Wilson is he's tough. I mean, he is really tough. I mean, this guy, they say he gets into a dark place before the games, and then he's really, really focused. I thought it was interesting hearing him talk about, after practice about what he sees and his comeback. But he's, he's not great. Like, if you watched him, you would say, he's not great at anything. But then when you start to watch him more, what he is dependable. He doesn't cough it up. He is not going to cough it up.
He runs so hard. He's a good receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, really, him and Elijah Mitchell are two of the hardest running backs in the league. Him and Elijah Mitchell run hard.
And they don't cough it up. I mean, these guys. I mean, we could talk about that sometime about the technique involved with not fumbling. It's not just as simple as, hey, I've got strong hands. It's like it's how you hold the football, your pressure points, and this and that. Tom Rathman one time gave me a whole 5-minute breakdown on how to hold the football and why he never fumbled, and so Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell have listened to their coaches because these guys don't cough it up. They do not.
Michael says, who's going to be battling for the right guard spot, and if Mac retires, does West have a legit shot winning the starting job given his years of experience at center? Right guard.
That's a tough one.
Brunskill, Jalen Moore. Those two guys seem they like Jalen Moore. Right guard, right tackle. He's going to be in the mix.
I'm going to say now, I was watching the O linemen today, and I was trying to see just kind of if there was anybody that stood out, because you got a lot of raw players there. And Burford definitely stands out as a talent. I mean, big, long arms. You can see he's a prototype, but he may be a year away. I kind of think the guy who might be the right guard is Zakel, because there's some nastiness to Zakel, and you can see it out there. He's hitting people, it's mini camp and they're not going full boat, it's like, it's still, but he's just delivers, some real violent shots. I mean, this is to his other offensive line mates and drills. I mean, he's just he's very powerful. I could see him giving them some pop in the run game. I would not be surprised if Brunskill is your center, if Zakel was the right guard.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I can see it. I like it.